Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the new martial arts drama Karate Kid Legends. Yes, the sixth film in the Karate Kid franchise. Not to mention, we got a television series based off of that franchise in Cobra Kai that just wrapped up about a month or so ago on Netflix. We get Karate Kid Legends, and this film stars Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, who reprised their roles from previous installments. Of course, Ralph Macchio, most recently in Cobra Kai, but he is the original Karate Kid as Danny LaRusso. Also returning, of course, is Jackie Chan, who was in the kind of a reboot or reimagining of the Karate Kid back in 2010, I believe. That film that came out that starred Jaden Smith along with Jackie Chan as Mr. Han, both, for lack of a better term, legendary actors return in this film after Kung Fu prodigy Li Fong relocates to New York City. He attracts unwanted attention from a local karate champion and embarks on a journey to enter the ultimate karate competition with the help of Mr. Han and Danny LaRusso, Daniel's son. This film had a lot of potential to be a nostalgic, kind of a reboot of this franchise at the same time. And you coming off of the popularity of Cobra Kai on Netflix, what could go wrong? What can go wrong? Because the Karate Kid that starred Jackie Chan was well received. I enjoyed that film a lot. I mean, really, really well done. Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith in that film. And of course, us of a certain age who grew up trying to master the crane kick when Karate Kid came out in 1984. It was like a match made in heaven, this film, on paper. Where can we go wrong? We have a newcomer here in Ben Wang who plays the new Karate Kid in this film. I mean, I was excited. I was super excited for Karate Kid Legends. Well, unfortunately, unfortunately, my excitement went out the window watching this movie. This was very, very disappointing. I was very disappointed with this film. I don't know if it was buying into the hype, because I didn't. I didn't buy into the hype of this movie, if there was any hype surrounding this film, because I don't recall seeing commercials or anything promoting this movie. And so there's that, and then there's the factor of, you're combining these worlds. Worlds collide in this film with Daniel's son and Mr. Han have to come together to train this guy, this young gentleman, for this karate championship tournament. So, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that, and the movie just lets you down in every way you can imagine. If you're a fan of this franchise, and we're going back to 84 with the first Karate Kid and the part 2, part 3, the next Karate Kid, and the Karate Kid with Jackie Chan and Cobra Kai, that series that took the world by storm on Netflix. If you have sat down and watched at least half of this content, I would consider you a fan, if you're willing to dedicate that much to this franchise. And I'm in that boat. I'm a huge fan of this franchise. I'm willing to, make fun of myself by enjoying this. I guess you can count it as a guilty pleasure, because none of these films are full of great storytelling. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. It's basic. It's the most basic format. And look, this film, Karate Kid Legends, is the most basic format. But we're in 2025. you can add something to it, do something a little different. Something. They managed to not only do the same thing that the original films were doing, but made it worse, made it boring. At least in the other films, they had soul. They had some heart to it, with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san and their relationship and how it built over the course of that movie, the respect and love that they had for one another during the course of that film. You felt it. It wasn't even about the karate. You was invested in their relationship. The subplot with Johnny and Cobra Kai and Daniel have to take on this whole dojo and win the championship at the end, sweep the leg and all that other good stuff. All that was just gravy on top of it. It was the story. And it started getting lesser and lesser as the films went on. The law of diminishing returns, as they say. It didn't really hit the mark, but they were what they were. Cobra Kai, on the other hand, Cobra Kai really told good stories. You had a lot going on. Now, granted, you had a lot of time to flush out characters. I mean, this show lasted for 8 seasons or something like that. So you had a lot of time to invest in these characters. So it's not a fair way to compare it to that, but you can still find heart and soul in that show. This film has nothing. It has no substance, no soul, no heart. It is nothing there. I could not connect to one character in this film. And that includes Daniel. That includes Mr. Hung. It was like, man, and you're familiar with these characters. It's not like we're being introduced to these characters here. These are characters that they're already flushed out very well. So you didn't really have to spend much time developing. How we got nothing from them, especially Daniel LaRusso. I don't know why he was in the movie. It made no sense. This movie made no sense whatsoever. Number one, and I'm not spoiling the film, so don't worry about that. It's really nothing to spoil, but I'm not going to go into details about the film. But I will say this. The character of Lee, who is the young man that's being trained by Mr. Hong and later trained by Daniel LaRusso in a combined effort, if you want to call it that, he didn't need training. He didn't need training at all. Now, I will say this. I'm going on this rant. I did like the fighting style of our lead character here. I'm looking forward to seeing Ben Wang in the future because he is a really good actor. I enjoyed him. He is the one good thing about this movie. The one good thing about this movie. Everything involving him was great. Outside of him, no. No. I liked his acting and I loved his fighting style. His fighting style, he is a young Jackie Chan. That was his fighting style, the way he would run up the walls or run on side of a wall, come back and do a flip kick and his crazy way of defending himself. Now, he wasn't a real offensive fighter. He was more defensive. And that's Jackie Chan, that's his style. I really do enjoy that style. But he didn't really need much training. Yeah, he probably needed some tuning up, but not to the degree that Mr. Hung, he immediately like, oh, I need help. It's I need to go get Daniel's son. Come on, man. Come on. And what did he do? Danny LaRusso came into this film to teach our character one move. One move. Just one. It was one move. And he didn't teach him the move. He just showed him how to improve the move. It made no sense why he was in the movie. It was a waste of time. It honestly was a waste of time. The tournament itself was kind of like, it was set up to be something kind of good, but they didn't build it up well. antagonist in this film wasn't built up well. They didn't develop him right. You know, you had a subplot that involved Joshua Jackson. Uh I don't know why that was in the movie. I really don't. I didn't understand the logic behind his character, where you have a karate guy, a kung fu guy teaching a guy how to box, and it didn't work out. But yet and still, the karate guy, he needs training himself. That's what the film is telling you. So how can he train him, and he needs to be trained? This movie was embarrassingly bad. It is so bad. It felt like Chat GPT wrote this movie. It really did. It felt like they just typed in a treatment or something and let AI finish the screenplay. Actually, it feels like they didn't have a screenplay. They were just throwing stuff against the wall to see what stuck, and they just rolled with it. I mean, you introduce some things, some elements to the story that looked like it could have been a little interesting, and they just blazed through it. You know, it was nothing to really latch on to. The movie flew by, and I guess that's a positive, because you didn't have to stick with this film that long. You know, you didn't have to suffer through it that long. It really does. The pacing is pretty good. That's my other positive about the film. I mean, it is paced well. You know, you don't stick around and linger. There were no scenes where you know there's there just to be there to soak up time and all this here. Once the story starts going, if you want to call the story a story, it flowed. It went. It came and it went. And so you didn't have to suffer through it long. But I mean, you could have gave us something, man. The mere fact that I'm sitting there watching this movie and I'm like, man, the TV show was better. I mean, Cobra Kai was great. Now, the last, 2 seasons of Cobra Kai, it kind of lost its way. But the first 2 to 3 seasons of that show was phenomenal. I loved Cobra Kai. And I know it's cheesy. I know that it's fan service and all this other good stuff. I get all that. But it was done well. It didn't hide what it was trying to be. You know, this film, in some strange way, was trying to hide what it was trying to be. It was trying to be a serious film, you know, dealing with a form of PTSD, dealing with grief, and it failed so bad. It was passed over and not really addressed. And these are serious issues that a lot of people go through, and you treated it like it was just there to be a hurdle for our main character to jump over, you know, and whatever. And I mean that literally. when you see the movie, it's I don't know, man. This was so disappointing, and what makes it so bad, I didn't have that high of expectation for this movie. It wasn't like I was like, oh man, this is gonna be the definitive Karate Kid movie, man. This is gonna shut down all of the naysayers of the Karate Kid franchise. I never had that feeling, but I thought at least it would be mildly entertaining. Unfortunately, it wasn't. This should have been a Netflix movie. If this had been on Netflix, I probably wouldn't have had as much disdain for it as I do right now. The fact that they released this in theaters and telling people to spend their hard-earned money to go sit in the theater to watch this is insulting. It is insulting. This is a streaming movie. Straight up, man. I would have felt better if they put Cobra Kai in theaters, you know, but this here, no, man, this was so bad. But the good thing is I fondly believe that it will be on Netflix very, very soon. Karate Kid Legends gets a letter grade of a D plus. Yeah, it's not good. If not for the good little fight scenes that we got about 3 good fight scenes. Two. We got 2 good fight scenes in this movie that was fairly entertaining. That was it, man. That was it. And Ben Wang. Big Ben Wang, I think he is a find. I can't wait to see him in more. I think he's the only one that's gonna come from this unscathed. Everything else, sorry. But I would like to know, are you a fan of the Karate Kid franchise, the movies, the TV show, and whatnot? And which one was your favorite? And are you looking forward to Karate Kid Legends? And if you've seen Karate Kid Legends, what were your thoughts? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of the 6th film in the Karate Kid franchise, Karate Kid Legends. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.